What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to be doing a buffs, nerfs, and rework tier list, breaking down all the heroes that need changes in Marvel Rivals and ranking them on the changes that they should receive right now based on the balance and the state of the game. Clarifying exactly what this means, we're talking specifically about the patch as it is now, and we're not talking about the seasonal bonuses either. We're assuming that that is the default way the game is played, and we're not talking about the potential changes in the seasonal bonus going into next season, because the devs can change them however they want. And basically we're saying objectively right now, based on their power level, how should they be changed, how should they be morphed to be more healthy for the meta, or characters that aren't viable are viable, or characters that are too oppressive aren't as oppressive. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get into the video. I think the first character that I'm going to put in the buff category is Squirrel Girl. Hear me out. Her ultimate needs a buff. Her ultimate needs a buff specifically. It's very inconsistent with how it bounces around. It's very inconsistent with, you know, the way it bounces. I'm not entirely sure how they will fix it, but I would like it if maybe it ignores little tiny pieces of geometry. Maybe it does a little bit more damage, because right now its damage is really negligible. And it's just a very massively inconsistent and underpowered ultimate. So I would say that is a character. That's my first one that I would say buff. The second character I would say needs buffed is Storm. Storm needs a buff. First thing I think they could do, they can make it so she doesn't have to reload. Doesn't Storm have to reload, from my understanding? Why, for one. For two, I don't necessarily think they need to increase her damage and speed, but maybe make it so that the effect on herself is much stronger than it is. Not around. I understand that if you make it too strong where, you know, your team gets sped too much or your team gets too much damage boost, it can be too powerful. You know, like if you give your team like a flat 20% damage boost the entire game, it's way too oppressive. Just give it to her. Make it so that she becomes way more powerful. So then it's hard, where she's like, do I want to give this effect to my team? Do I want to give this effect to me? Because, you know, I want to be fast, but, you know, maybe my team, you know, universally needs damage, whatever, right? I think that is something that we could do. Should be able to buff team even when flying at a high altitude. I could say that as well. Yeah, that's a nice quality of life, but also a buff. So those are the two things that I would say right off the bat. These are characters that I could definitively say, let's buff those things about them. Squirrel Girl might need a bit more of a creative solution besides just buffing the damage of the ult. But Storm, I think, is pretty simple in the way that they buff it. Before we go to any more buffs, we're going to talk about a nerf. This is the first one. This is the elephant in the room, in my opinion. Luna Snow. Nothing about this character is too busted besides the length of her ult. 12 goddamn seconds. 12 seconds. Bro, this fucking thing takes forever, bro. 12 seconds. Nothing lasts that goddamn long. It can survive through not only like an entire ultimate, but then it gives you another like 4, 5, 6 seconds to just fucking win the game. Yeah, 12 is insane. Yeah, down to 8, I think that's perfectly fine. If you wanted to play it on the safe side, make it 10, not 12. Not 12. I think 8 is reasonable. I think 8 is reasonable. But keep in mind here, I think there should be nerfs to the length of a lot of ultimates. Not the power of the ultimates, but the length. Ultimates should not take up a giant... Like, when you chain ultimates together, one Luna Snow ultimate into a fucking Mantis ultimate, into a Loki ultimate, into a whatever, it's just like, you're just sitting in ultimates for fucking a minute. I think specifically with Luna, it should be nerfed for sure. The next nerf that we're going to talk about is, for sure, Hawkeye. The first nerf I would say is this guy should not be able to charge his bow behind cover. Right now, if you have a piece of cover to the left side of you and you're looking at a target, your bow can charge, and then you can literally peek out, one-shot someone, peek back in. That is just fucking silly. Like, that's just straight up silly. I think that makes no sense for the character, for sure. Outside of that, you know, if you're going to maintain him as a one-shot character, I think that's really the only nerf that I would give him, to be honest with you, is that. I think that is the BS part of him. Now, if you wanted to take it a step further, you could literally nerf him to the point where you're removing... You know, you're making it so he can't one-shot headshot. I think that's a conversation to be had. I honestly don't... I think there's enough answers to a guy like this that it's fine. I think people over-ban him, to be honest, when there's a ton of characters that directly counter him. A lot of dive tanks, like Psylocke's very good. But really, the fact that he can just hide, charge up, peek, kill is dumb. It's so dumb. Hella. As far as how we nerf this bitch, I think there's a lot of different ways you could do it. I don't have like a clear-cut way. I think her ultimate should probably be easier to destroy, slightly. I think that her crowd control should take a little bit longer to get back, and I think her damage should be slightly nerfed. In some combination of those things. Maybe not all of those things, But I think some of those things. I also do think that her synergy with Thor is a bit too strong. As someone who abused it myself and someone who plays a lot of Thor, when she gets a kill and I come back at 460 HP as Thor, that shit is not balanced. That is not balanced at all. It is literally broken. If you want to climb in the lower elos, you duo hella Thor, you literally just dominate. Thor should come back at like 300 health. That's better. That's a start. Going back to buffs, this one might be a controversial one. I'm putting Scarlet Witch in here. Scarlet Witch in the buff tier. Here's what I would do to buff this character. I kind of explained it before. But my biggest problem, the reason why this character sees no high elo play and is just generally not that great of a character is because she's too slow. Like, her fade is too slow. Double the speed of the fade. Literally double it. That's it. You don't have to necessarily, I think doubling it is fine. She's still super punishable. She's still very easy to kill by a lot of characters. She doesn't kill you fast. So, like, you have time to kill her on pretty much any character. Like, you might not like her design, but to make her viable, she definitely needs a buff. She does very little damage. But, like, that's the thing is, like, if you keep her in her damage state, like, I don't necessarily think you should buff her damage. I like the idea of giving her more options in mobility because I like her mobility, but it's just too slow. Like, when she fucking fades and goes, like, super slow and I just, like, dash up, follow her, Psylocke kill her. But she should, like, go really fast. Really fast. She's just way too slow because unlike other fades, it's telegraphed. You can see it. You see the ball. So you can, like as Winter Soldier, I shoot her once, she fades, I literally follow her with my crosshair, she pops out a fade, I shoot her, she's dead. I literally do that every time. She's literally like a non-character. Like an actual non-character. Make her have aim, but do more damage. See, like, I get that, but I think that her design is intentionally one that lacks mechanical nuance. On purpose. Like, I like having characters that require mechanics, but I do respect characters that don't. Because not everyone wants to play those characters, right? Like, some people want to play Jeff the Shark, even though you don't have to fucking aim. I'm not going to be playing Jeff the Shark. I'm going to be aiming. But if you don't want to play, you know, if you want to do whatever you want, you can. They could make her ultimate pop a little bit quicker. Or better yet, they could make it so she moves a little bit faster in her ult. I think that's probably the best thing that you do. Is that she moves a little bit faster. Make it so that people have to be further behind cover. Or you decide to kill her. She's not just... Because, like, right now, she's so slow when she ults, too. Just speed in general is my problem with this character. Okay, this one might be controversial. I don't know. I'm kind of split on this. I kind of really would prefer Wolverine to be a tank. I would prefer this character reworked as a tank. Reduce his damage. Increase his survivability. Give him a passive heal as well. Like a passive heal when he's out of combat. Make him a tank. That's what I would like to see with Wolverine. I understand that people have kind of figured him out. I do feel like he's still a little bit gimmicky in the way that he gets value. He's like trying to kidnap someone, take them out of position. Cool. But I would prefer my reduced damage. My man does marshmallow damage. Well, no, because he does a lot of damage that scales by max HP. So when he's max rage on a tank, he shreds them. You can't keep him that way if he's a tank. You can't turn him into a tank that destroys tanks. You can't do that. You just can't do that. My problem is he's very situational in that design. I would prefer him to be a tank. As long as Wolverine can kidnap, I'm happy. Yeah, of course. We keep that aspect of him. We just make him a little beefier. We just make him more survivable. We give him that passive heal that kind of fits with his lore. We make it so he doesn't do as much damage to tanks. And we turn him into a tank. Let's quickly talk about some characters that I would not change at all. Characters that I think are perfectly fine as is. I don't think they demand any changes. I don't think that there is a warrant for any changes to the characters. Star-Lord, I think, is in that camp. I believe that Winter Soldier is in that camp. I might be biased, but I think that he is in that camp. I think that Adam Warlock is in that camp. These are three characters that I think don't deserve any changes. They don't need any changes to be viable. They're fine. They're powerful, but they're not overpowered. I think that these are reasonable. Now, another character that I think they could buff, Cap. I think they could buff Cap slightly. Right now, he doesn't really do any damage without the Thor synergy, and even then, he's kind of underwhelming. I think that there's one of these cooldowns. He has a couple of cooldowns on him that I think are a little bit too slow, and I think some of his damage is a little underwhelming for sure. I don't think he needs massive changes or anything like that, just small buffs. A little bit less cooldowns, a little tiny bit less damage. That's what I would like on the character. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Black Panther. How do y'all feel about Black Panther? I honestly think that Black Panther doesn't need any changes. If you were gonna nerf him, I would nerf his health to 275 instead of 300. But I don't necessarily think he needs a nerf. Yeah, I mean, him being annoying isn't a warrant for nerfing him. I would say, like, if he was gonna be nerfed, I would say 275. But I'm actually down with no change. Black Widow. Delete? What do y'all think? Thoughts on Black Widow delete? Okay, chat. Here's my problem. This character should not one-shot. They should not make this character one-shot. If this character doesn't one-shot, she's not playable. That's my problem. That's my general problem with this character. I don't really think there's a way to make this character good, but not great. I don't think you can make this character good, but not great. I think she's either gonna be great or she's gonna be trash. Yeah, that's my problem with this character. I literally do not think that in her current state, she will be good. Now, I say delete, but I probably really mean like rework. But yeah, I don't think that they could really make this character balanced. Buff to her melee? I mean, I guess. But like, that's not really gonna matter. Like, unless her melee is literally one-shot hoes, it's not really gonna matter. I honestly think like she has a fundamental flaw in her character kit. I also don't like her ultimate either. I think her ultimate is awkward. The camera is awkward. The first person camera feels awkward. It's not extremely effective. Like, make her into a second Psylocke. Oh, just make her melee. You're saying like rework the character and make her melee. I can see that. I'm gonna put her in delete, but I actually like a lot of these ideas around changing her core kit more than I like the ideas about super buffing her kit. Going to Hulk. I think Hulk, no change. Now, they should definitely nerf the fucking synergy, though. So, like, I'm going to put Hulk in the nerf tier, but we're not nerfing the character. We're nerfing the Iron Man synergy. That's what we're nerfing. That shit is too strong. It's too meta. I think that should be nerfed, especially because Hulk, Iron Man, and Strange are all super strong. So, I would say nerf the synergy slightly. Make it longer for Iron Man to activate whatever. But him individually, I don't think he needs anything. But I'm putting him in the nerf tier just to freak people out. But, I mean, it's true. We're nerfing him technically, but we're mainly nerfing the synergy. Right. Cloak and Dagger. All right, Cloak and Dagger mains, what do y'all think? I think this character seems fine. I don't think this character needs a buff or a nerf or anything. To me, character is A-okay. Most perfect character of all time. Are we just looking high-level buffs and nerfs or sort of mid-level? I mean, if a character gets buffed or nerfed, it's affecting everybody, dude. Okay, I think no change on it. Doctor Strange. How do y'all feel about this character? I feel like he is strong as fuck, but maybe not overpowered. If I were to do anything to this character, I would probably nerf. I would make it so it takes longer to charge his ult. Like, that's the only change I would do to this character, is that I think he gets his ult a bit too fast. I feel like it's such a powerful ult, it should take longer. Gru is... What do y'all think about Gru? I think that he's fine. I think he's perfectly fine. I understand maybe you want to nerf his wall health. I could see that. Maybe you nerf his base health because he has 700 HP. That's a lot. But I don't mind no change. I don't mind no change for this character. I'm putting him in no changes. Iron Fist. How do y'all feel about him? So this is the only thing I don't understand about this character. Why does he parry from behind? I don't know if it always works, but I can't tell you how many times I've pinned him. He's looking at my team. I'm behind him. I pin him, and he parries my fucking pin. He's not looking at me. That's not how a parry should fucking work. Yeah, no, I know. He's no change. Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest, chat. He's no change. Iron Man, I think it's like no change, but it's also like getting hurt by the synergy, right? We're nerfing the synergy. It's the same thing. I don't think the character himself needs nerfed. I just think the synergy he has with Hulk, a little bit nerfed. That's it. I think Jeff is actually a pretty healthy design. I think he's healthy in the fact that he scales off. Like, the thing about Jeff is that he doesn't have any utility. He has no utility for his team. And so, like, when people get better, they realize, I don't have damage boost and sleep that Mantis has. I don't have the freeze that Luna has. And the really powerful ultimate. I don't have all this crazy good utility, right? I think it'd be cool to see more synergies with the character, though. I think it'd be cool. You know what I would say? Buff the synergy that he has when he rides on top of people. I'm going to put him in the buff tier, but mainly just the team up is what I would say. Okay, Loki. I think Loki's probably fine. I think his shift ability is insane, though. His totems, fucking insanity, but I feel like that's necessary, right? I think it's, like, necessary for the character to, you know. I think you could get no change. He's very strong, but, yeah, I think no change is fine. Magneto, I think we could probably buff the synergy between these two. Besides that, no. I don't think he needs a buff. But I think you could buff that. Here's another thing I would say with Magneto. I would say that his ultimate should be able to absorb any amount of damage. I think it's stupid how you can pop this. So like, let's say Punisher pops his ult. You pop this in response, right? If Magneto's ultimate absorbs too much damage, it pops. To me, that's dumb as fuck. Like, let him absorb any amount of damage. Like, what are we talking? Why are we doing that? I don't understand. Support mains, you might freak out. You might not like this. I play a lot of Mantis. I understand how strong this character is. I think she's probably the strongest individual character in the entire game. I think they should nerf this character's HP to 250 and not 275. That's how I think. Some people might freak out about that. This character has high damage, high heals, good movement, a great crowd control. She does not need 275. So the thing about Mantis sleep fraud is your team can wake you up. Like when Mantis sleeps you, it's shootable. So like that's cool. Like you could, I like that interaction. Maybe you could say that you should wake up a little bit faster if your team doesn't wake you up. I also just think in general, teammates just don't fucking wake you up. It's like a knowledge gap thing. Moon Knight. I think this character is fine. I think this character would be more fine if people learn to shoot the fucking onks. But yeah, this character's fine. Namor, I think, is fine, to be honest with you. This character could, but I would say that this character's #1 on my list to be a character that deserves a nerf. Like, I don't think he does, but I think there's a world where he does. But I don't think, right now, I don't think he needs one. I just think there is a future where he could. Because he is extremely fucking strong and very unique. Penny. I don't think Penny needs nerfs or buffs. I don't think this character would also be good being too strong. Like, in general, to lead. I don't think this character would be good for the game being too strong. Some people say nerf, other people saying buff. She shuts down so many ults. Yeah, but I feel like that's all she has, Dumpty. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I hate the fucker too when she fucking wraps me up over and over again. I honestly think, right now, I think no changes. I think that there's a chance that this character could need some changes, but I don't really know what the right direction for her is, to be honest. I think we're talking a lot based on our experience with the character. I'd rather someone high level that plays the character, tell me what they think, not the other way around. Nerf the ninja. Yeah. My friends tell me she's a console demon even in plat diamond lobbies. Yeah, I could see that. I could see she being a console demon. Like, her kit is inherently defensive, so I feel like it balances itself out a bit. People don't really use her mobility well enough, though. I think when people get really good at her, she'll probably need a nerf. Right now, people are just, like, generally, like, fairly Papega at her. Man, I feel like I haven't said Papega in a long time. I kind of just like it if her activation window is just a little bit longer. That's all I like. Like right now, her activation window is really fast. I would just increase it by, like, even half a second. Like, we just saw the game, not the last game we played, but the game before that we played. She was 1 HP in front of me, and I, like, literally shot her, like, instantly after she ulted, and she still got away with it. I think it should just have a slight... The other thing, my big thing is that, yeah, sneaky, but she can also just one-shot characters, and she can also bait out support ults just with her damage. I think that they should make it so it's harder for her to build ult, is what I would do. I think Psylocks that farm tanks build ults way too fucking fast. In fact, I would probably say every character builds ult way too fucking fast, but mainly, like, support ults are built too fast. Psylocke ult is built too fast. Like, ults are so busted in this game, it's crazy. And they're built so quickly. Yeah, Black Widow could probably be reworked into an assassin spy type. I for sure think so. My real placement for her is here. I'm gonna keep her in here, though. Punisher is fine. I think his turret is bullshit. Tell me why I can Thor ult on top of this motherfucker when he's in his turret. Like, literally on top of it. Like, right on top of his head. And he takes no damage. Zero. None. Why? Why the fuck does that happen? This is how I would do it. I would say, as turret takes damage, he receives small amounts of damage himself, to where if he's... Or, like, actually, no. Because you know how he can cancel his turret? If he's on his turret when it breaks... I think he should take, like, at least 50 damage, maybe 100. How do y'all feel about that? So, like, if he knows it's going to break, he needs to cancel his turret early. But if he's on his turret and it breaks, it's like, it breaks and it, like, slightly explodes to where it does a little bit of damage to him. So he's penalized for staying in his turret and letting it get broken. I like that concept. Maybe it's only 50 damage. Maybe it's just a little bit. Maybe it's a 50, 100. I don't know what the damage is, but I think just a little bit. Just so, like, he's not just like... I'm just going to sit here until they break my turret and I'm fucking immortal. No. People say Rocket buff. I think maybe you could probably increase his fall off damage. Yeah, I was thinking that. His ult a bit. I think his ult is probably fine. I think you increase his damage slightly. Just slightly. A little bit. Just literally like a little. I don't know about buffing his ultimate. His ultimate is already strong. I just feel like people use it wrong. Like, really wrong. People use his ultimate so bad. Like, it's literally like Bongo from Overwatch 1, and that ultimate was busted. People just... don't know any situation where you need a rocket. I mean, he's really good with the synergy right now. That's pretty much the only reason to play him. Like, I think Spider-Man's probably fine. A top 10 player is a Spider-Man main. His ceiling's so high. Yeah, and people are kind of coming up with more and more things, too. He's pretty hard to use properly. I think that it's too early, I would say. I think that more techs are being invented every day. I think the character is really strong, potentially. There's a lot of combos and synergies. He has nice crowd control. I think it's probably too early. Thor. I don't care about anything. I don't care about anything on this fucking character. Fucking buff his ultimate, for God's sake. It doesn't need to be CC immune. But as you saw, when I get smacked by a fucking Hawkeye, you know, his little fucking thing? When I get slightly booped by a Venom, those things should not cancel my fucking ultimate. Now, if Winter Soldier hits me with a whip, sure. If Squirrel Girl hits me with their fucking stun squirrel thing, sure. But like, when I get hit by the smallest bullshit and it gets canceled, not to mention, it just doesn't do any goddamn damage. Like, it's so low. It's so low. Like, if I slam and I'm 5 feet away from someone, they do not give a fuck. They just don't. Venom. So the interesting thing about Venomol, I don't know if chat knows this, is that Venomol does damage based on current HP. It halves it. So, like, if you ult a 700 HP group, it will do 350 damage. But if you ult, I think it actually does 350 plus 60. So I think it will do 410 or whatever. But if you ult like a 200 HP group, it's only going to knock him down to like half that plus 60. So he's not going to die. So like, you're almost never going to kill with the ult. It's actually better to engage with the ult, which is weird. It's a weird thing. Like, I think that it should probably just be changed because people don't really like, I think it should not do that. I think it should probably just do like a flat 150 or something. Or maybe that's too much. It's a lot of HP. That's a lot of fucking HP. Maybe like 150 to people directly in the center. You know what I kind of like? I think it'd be cool to have an ultimate that just launches everyone fucking up. Like he pops out of the ground and just fucking launches fuckers in the sky. Like, and does a whole bunch of damage to them. I'm gonna put a rework, which mainly I'm putting rework just because I think they should rework his ultimate. It's the main thing. Magic doesn't need a change, no? Magic's fine. Yeah, Magic is definitely fine. I think Magic is A-okay. Okay, anyways, this is my definitive list. I think this is a reasonable list. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below if you agree or disagree. See you next time.